Yeah, so we drove off from the first checkpoint, and now we're about 45 minutes out, still driving through the city or whatever, and we get to another checkpoint. So mind you, I'm in Africa, and I always think that, whenever I leave the country, everything gonna be way better than America. America has a lot of violence, other countries don't have as much violence as America, so you assume everything is gonna be okay. Another thing is, when I looked up the crime rate in Ghana, it says it's really no crime. The most that happened is maybe a little petty stealing or, little minor stuff, but it's really, really no crime. So we get to the second checkpoint and, same routine, they come to the car and I see the driver hands the lady cop some money. So in my mind, I'm like, damn, he know this lady? Like, damn, that's kind of wild. We've been driving for, a good 45 minutes and he knows this random, cop or whatever. So I was like, what was that, man? So he go, oh, no, nothing, just Ghana police. So I'm like, what the hell? So he don't want to tell me, whatever. So we driving and stuff. So now, we on this highway, and mind you, it's dark as hell out there in Africa. It's dark. Like, the highway is dark. It's like bushes and stuff alongside the highway. And you hear all these animals that you never heard before. I ain't gonna lie to you. You hear some animals you never heard before. So I'm just like, man, it's a real different experience. So next and one thing, the roads is on the highway is not as paved as in America, at least in that one part we was at. So we hit a pothole and we caught a flat. Mind you, my phone don't work at the time because I didn't switch over to have international service. I'm in the middle of Africa, we got a flat, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, yo, what the hell I get myself into? You know what I mean? But the crazy part about it, man, that driver, man, he was a real man. Like, he jumped out the car, took the tire off, put a new one on, and was back on the road within 5 minutes. Me, it would have took me forever. I'd have been there for a couple minutes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, he was a real man, and I really admired that. So then we back on the highway, we driving, and then we get pulled over again. So the guy comes to the car, and he look a little angry. Now let me give you a little backstory. So before I got there, and whenever you go to Africa, you have to take the yellow fever vaccine. When you go to the location to take the yellow fever vaccine, because not every doctor have it, because that's not something that we normally take in America. You have to go to special doctors that have it available. When you go there, they also tell you have to take malaria medicine, because our bodies is not equipped to handle that type of stuff. If we get bit by a mosquito, it could get real tragic, you know what I mean? So I had to take malaria medicine, which was some pills. You had to start taking it a few days before you leave, and then, every day while you're there, then I think a day or two after you get back. So one thing the lady told me when she was giving me the medicine was that the pills could dry out your skin, so you have to drink a lot of water. So now the cop comes to the car and, they speak another language out there. Well, they speak numerous languages. I think it's different tribes and stuff like that. I can't really remember exactly how many tribes they have in Ghana, but I do know they speak different languages and stuff like that. So I hear them speaking, they get out the car, and I hear the trunk pop open. So now I hear the cop ruffling through the trunk, and in my mind I'm thinking like, all right, I'm in a different country, but, this seems a little familiar, you know what I mean? It seems like we getting shaken down or harassed or, you know what I mean? But I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm thinking like, I'm a foreigner. They ain't gonna treat me bad, That's what I'm thinking and stuff. So the guy comes to my car and he's like, hey, do you drink water? So I'm like, yeah, I drink water. And mind you, I'm thinking he's looking at me thinking he's American, the malaria medicine. I think he's, trying to look out for my safety. So he's making a face at me like, what? So I'm like, yeah, I drink water. I start reaching in my bag and everything. God could have shot me right there, I'm just trying to pull up my bottle of water. So I pull up my water and I'm like, yeah, I got water right here. So he's looking at me, he starts shaking his head. He like, no, I want some water. So I'm like, water? I'm like, I ain't got no water, brother. That's all I got. So he's looking at me like, you don't know what I'm talking about? So I'm confused, like, what the hell is going on? You know what I mean? So then the driver comes back to the car and he's like, oh, I know what you want. He pulls out money and give it to him. That's when it dawned on me, this guy was robbing us. So I'm like, oh shit, and that's when I realized that that's what the money was earlier at the other traffic stop. So now I'm sitting there like, oh man, this is what they do out here? I'm nervous as hell. I got a pocket full of money on me, like, hundreds of dollars. I'm in the middle of Africa and the police is shaking people down, robbing them. So I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, yo man, how much longer till we get to our destination? He's like, oh, about an hour. I'm like, all right, cool. We driving, next you know, and mind you, it's dark. We just see these flashlights flash out of nowhere. That's the police telling you to pull over. Another police pull us over. I'm like, oh man. A lady comes to the car. She says, while she's shaking, rubbing her hands together, she goes, "I hope you got my energy." So I'm like, what? I'm looking at her like, I ain't got no, you know what I mean? I ain't got no money, you know what I mean? Because, the driver's like, yeah, she wants some money. I'm like, nah, I ain't got no money for her. So he tells her in his language, sorry, we ain't got no money. So she started yelling and we just drove off. So now we driving and I'm just sitting there thinking like, man, get me to my destination, you know what I mean? We on this dark road, it's the middle of the night. I'm looking out the window, you can't see nothing. All you hear is these animals. Like, I don't know what animals they are, but you hear it. I'm like, man, this is, it's a different experience, you know what I mean? I'm just thinking like, man, somebody's walking out there. I don't know what's gonna happen to him because I don't know who's gonna jump out the bushes and get him, you know what I mean? But we driving. Next, more flashlights. 2 cops with machine guns. I'm like, oh man. They look in the car. They like, yo, go ahead, and we just drove off, man. When I got to my destination, I jumped off that car so fast, man. I was happy as hell to be, at my location. So long story short, I'm in this hotel.